Welcome to week 6 of I Hate Fantasy Football. Steve's Shack. Week 5 sucked. It really sucked. As good as 2 Fridays ago was, this Monday was that bad. It was maybe the worst day in my sports recent memory. I can't think of any day that I was more incredibly angry with everything related to the sporting world. We'll get to that later. I have a very exciting show this week. We're going to launch the inaugural In the Shack with Jesse Dubiel. Jesse's going to co-host the show with me this week. I'd like to have everybody co-host the show, so get in touch with me. Shoot me a text, give me a call, and we'll get together and hopefully we can get everybody in the shack. But this week we got Jesse. All right, Jesse, welcome back to the shack, man.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Absolutely.
As good as you thought it was, everything you hoped it would be.
Yeah, and more.
That's what I like. Let's get right to it. The first thing I'd like to do is I'm going to welcome everybody who comes to the shack in with a little bit of some hard-hitting analysis. You know what I mean?
Aww.
Hard-hitting questions. I'm like the Dan Patrick of our league.
Better be careful, I will cut you with this thing.
Yeah, you will. It's pretty epic. Which brings me to my first question. How's your beard helping you this season?
I really feel like it's given me a grizzled approach to fantasy football.
You were a grizzled veteran all along.
I was. Take no prisoners beard is what I call this.
Fear the beard.
I think that pretty much sums it up.
Okay. Did you see me licking my lips as I talked about it?
Oh, I always see that.
So, on a more serious note, you're 3-2 so far. Are you satisfied with the start to your season?
I think considering the standings as they are, I'm overall I'm pretty happy with where I am. I'd like to be in a better spot, obviously, but I think there's 4 other teams that are 3-2, maybe 3 other teams, and I think I'm in 4th place overall. So at this point in the season, yeah, I'm pretty happy with where I am.
All right. So you're content with mediocrity?
Yeah, I'm content with not being in 8th place. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So I guess this is as good of a time as any to announce what we'll talk about a little bit more later inside the DFL. But Jesse and I pulled off a trade today. Cam Newton for Roddy White, straight up. So I'd like to get into that a little bit. What made you go after Cam Newton?
First of all, I saw him sitting on the bench, and I thought that was a shame because he's really put up the numbers, especially for a rookie. Phillip Rivers, he hasn't been doing poorly, but I felt like I really just needed a little bit more out of my quarterback position.
You nervous at all about the rookie factor, about any sort of drop-off? He also, the type of quarterback he is, he's going to take some hits. You nervous about any sort of injury factor?
A little bit. A lot of rookies in the NFL play that way and like to run more than they should, but he hasn't really shown any signs of dropping off. I think I'm just going to start him and ride that statistical anomaly of the rookie that as long as I can.
You really took your time with this trade. We started talking about it, I think last Monday is when I made the offer, Roddy White for Newton straight up, and you didn't accept it until Sunday night. So what was going through your mind? What made you just take me through that trading process?
One of the things I had to do was look at the stats between the two, their matchups, bye weeks, even that sort of stuff. The other thing was I played hedgy this weekend, and I really wasn't too worried about securing that W, so I didn't want to pull the trigger on any trade that changed my receiving core when I could just as easily get the win without Cam Newton. So that's sort of why I put that off until after I knew for sure that I had won.
Who do you feel is the biggest threat to win the title this year?
I was looking at total points scored so far this year, and up until this week anyway, Allen was far and away the most points scored overall. Now he sort of had a bad week this week, which resulted in his first loss finally, and now he's only, I think he's 30 points ahead of me. I really am surprised by Allen's performance without Peyton Manning. If he had Peyton Manning healthy this year, he would be unstoppable.
I really thought you were going to say you were the threat to win the title.
Well, I just assumed you meant other than me, of course.
I opened it up. I opened it up however you wanted to answer it. So you heard it here first. Jesse doesn't think he's going to win the title. Which would you take? I could guarantee you 5 straight division titles from here on out. But you're never the league champ. You're either second, third, somewhere in there. Or you get 1 championship in the next 5 years and no division titles.
No, it's hard to pass up the glory of the DFL Cup, but yeah, I would probably take the division titles.
It's funny because I have that.
Yeah.
So, I think it's about time to get into week 5. Minor programming note, if either of us seem relatively disinterested while we're not talking, it's only because Game 3 of the Brewers is on right now, and we have that going side screen here, so I'm sure you understand. Unless you're Justin, then you have no idea what playoff baseball's like. So, it's okay. You'll get there, never.
The Cubs are so cute. They try so hard.
They really do. They got Theo Epstein now. This could be the
I'm
year.
gonna pinch his cheek.
Oh, he is adorable. Well, just when Jared goes and vindicates himself, he throws up a 43-point dud and shows us just why he still sucks. I do think it's funny that Kyle Orton scored -2 points while my glorious friend Tim Jesus Tebow almost. I seriously, real football sidebar. I've never been so excited about a 5-point loss ever, and I probably never will be again. So, kudos to you, Jared, on starting Kyle Orton.
Jared's running core is far and away the best part of his team, and 10.5 points apiece, it looks like, compared to single digits from the rest of his team, not including Kyle Orton, who got negative digits.
How did Jared ever score more than 100 points?
I don't know. Looking at that team, it's hard to come up with a 100-point game.
Oh yeah, Jermichael Finley.
That
The second rounder.
The 1 week.
Totally earned that second round pick. Is there a more scary running back duo than Devon's right now? Adrian Peterson and Michael Turner. I do not want to play those guys.
Yeah, well, Adrian Peterson put up some big numbers this week. I think Michael Turner is, he's been consistent but not great. He hasn't had a breakout game.
No, but both of those guys' basement is higher than most other guys' basement, and their ceilings are both higher than most other guys' ceilings. So, to me, you're talking about a minimum of 30 points between the two of them usually, and a maximum of, I don't know, sky's the limit really.
Yeah, but they both score over 13 points a game on average. So
sneaky important game, man. I'm telling you, and this is a signature win for JVS against Mike here. Pushing Mike to 2-3 is really going to help Justin in the long run, because this is his main competition for that third playoff spot, I think, in the red. Really lucky that he got 20 points out of the law firms, but he did it how he did it, and I'm proud of him for it. I mean, 87 points, not necessarily the greatest showing, but just see him doing enough to get it done every week.
Mike's core, man, what happened this week was just ugly. And I was there watching the Bills game, and I'm like, there's no way Justin's going to win this. The Bills had like 4 interceptions off of Vic. And yeah, and then the rest of his team went on to do absolutely nothing. So that
Turns out starting 2 Broncos wide receivers is not the smartest move. Mad props to Justin on that win. We'll let Jesse break this one down.
Me versus Hedgie. I expected it to be closer, to be honest with you. Eli, he's been doing really well the last few weeks, and he didn't fail this week either. So, but the rest of his team, unfortunately, including Larry Fitzgerald, who only put up 5 points, which is a pretty big disappointment. Johnny Knox, I know I told you to pick him up, but maybe that was a setup. I don't know. 1 point. And then, you look at my team, this may be the most well-rounded performance of my team to date. The well-rounded attack versus Eli.
You probably thought my team was real.
No.
I hate my life. I hate my life. I hate my life, and most of all, I hate you, Kevin Guile. I hate you and your whale's disgusting lipstick. How about that? I hate it all. I have nothing to say about this loss. Very balanced attack. I had 5 players in the double digits. I really only had 1 disappointing performance, and it was out of my number 3 wide receiver. So, 96 points this year in this league is not a bad showing, and you throw out my worst week, I'm averaging over 94 points a game, but I still somehow have managed to become 1-4. This week it was the 2nd longest run in Detroit Lions history and one of the longest passing touchdowns in Detroit Lions history to bring Kevin back from over a 30-point deficit on Monday night and beat me to a tune of 106 to 96. I might kill Kevin. From here, I'll turn it over to Jesse so that I can go slit my wrists for a moment.
Pierre Garçon. You got to start with him. 25.5 points. What? I mean, I know they... come on. 25.5 points from Pierre Garçon.
He had Curtis Painter throwing him the ball.
Where did that come from? Javid Best and Matt Stafford. Other than that, not real super impressive performances.
Do you remember when I said Javid Best is probably the best pick of the draft?
I think the best pick of Kevin's draft was Javid Best, and the only reason I think that is because where he got him a little bit later. I think it was a good value pick by accident.
Do you remember when I said that? I said it was the sneaky best pick of the draft by accident. I maintain that statement.
I remember thinking when he picked Matt Stafford that I was like, he's a sleeper pick. I do need to say, though, Jordy Nelson, what a weapon. They call him an X Factor.
That's all I'm saying.